All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for joining me. Friday the 13th. Um, Anyways, we got a great training. We're going to have a short training today. I'm not going to keep everybody too long, but I do have some important things that we're going to talk about. If you can see me, hear me, and see my screen, give me a thumbs up. And I appreciate everybody that has their videos on. T looking like Malcolm X over here. But thank you for having your videos on. It makes it a lot more fun for me. So let me talk a little bit. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Who was that? Somebody got the Rona. All right. Let's get started. So when I got started in the business, I always try to give some insight and history. Fell in love with the company, and fell in love with the company, loved what we did for people. But like everybody else, was super scared to build my list, super scared to call people. And I had this mentality that I bought into the concept of overriding people right away. Okay. I wanted to have a business. I got the cash flow quadrant, having people work for you, hiring people. And for those of you who don't know this, some of you do know, most of you have heard my story in depth. I actually got involved in it was a scam. I mean, it was masked as a network marketing company in college. This guy prospected me, and I went to an op meeting at a home. It was at a house, and this guy pulled up, and this is 2000, 2001, so a long time ago. He pulled up in a yellow Acura NSX. At that time, I thought that was a $75,000 to $100,000 car. He was a young guy. He's probably 24, 25. He had a nice watch, great public speaker. This guy had incredible charisma, and he signed me up for an internet thing, and he had all these things of how e-commerce was going to take over the world. And it was a brand new company, had been there for a year, and you had to pay $460 to start, or I think it was $500 to start. And I borrowed the money from somebody because I knew my parents wouldn't give it to me. I ended up paying that guy back. And the whole concept of it was, if you hired two people, you made $100. That was it. Like, if it was called a match. That was the compensation title if you got two people. And so when I got exposed to Primerica, I was extremely skeptical. I liked what they were talking about. I liked the leader. I liked that we met in an office, financial services, loans, insurance, investments. All of that made sense. But the drawing of the circles, and in 18 months you can have your own office. What are y'all doing? Jeez. Don't write on my screen. What was I saying, T? I lost my train of thought. You remember what I was saying?
Drawing circles.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I was when I heard all that stuff, and I heard district leader override, I did think, oh man, it's one of those things again. I did think that, because they had the exact compensation for this. They had different titles. I forgot the names of the designations, but that raised the flags for me. And the first point I want to make is and you can answer the chat and I'll call on some people. what is the difference between us? If you had to simplify it, what is the difference between us and the multi-level companies? What is it? What is it? I mean, you can run your own business, and I'm not talking about the comp. Obviously, yes, we make money here. I get that. We do. We make money. They don't make money. You don't get paid to hire people. You get licensed. You get audited. But that is very high level for people. What is the difference? What is it? Where do people see that this business is different than Amway or Five Links or Mary Kay or Organo Gold or whatever it is? The wrap companies, or now they have all the multi-level CBD oils, all of them, right? Travel companies, YTB. Where do they discover that? I'm gonna look at the chat, but I'm gonna call on a couple of people in a second. Let me just see what people are saying. Okay, some good answers here. Go ahead, Dominic, and thank you for raising your hand. I really appreciate you. You're just the only civilized person on this entire group. Everybody's screaming out to the camera. But
So,
Dominic.
So I would say is you can make some decent money without recruiting anyone. You can just, with the help of, especially with the help of your trainer, learn how to have appointments and just be an agent and get compensated for the work that you do.
Okay. And look, a lot of those things are right. Somebody said, it's financial services, Dominic, which you just said. What we do for family separates us from everything else. Okay. Obviously we make a difference, the money that's generated through financial services. So when people see that, that's when it changes. Oh, look, I want everybody to remember this, right? And we have some of me, right? I have state records, okay? State records, right? And this isn't a shot at anybody, I promise you, but I don't know what it is, 68, 70 recruits, okay, in a month as a state record, right? I'd love to see anybody beat that, okay? And that's, that was a $200 IBA too, okay? So, but that talk, the cash flow quadrant, the circles, you can run your own office. I had somebody just try to sell me, because I'm trying to prospect this guy. A young kid came to my dad's house and tried to sell him solar panels. So I invited him over to my house, and because he's a young kid knocking on doors, and I asked him, how'd you get recruited? And he's like, well, I wanted to do this. Young guy, super sharp, super motivated. And everybody is saying the same thing. I just want you to understand that. Everybody says the same thing. You get some people and and they have the 1099 versus the employee talk. They got it down pat. And many of those companies are better at talking about it than we are, because that's the only thing they can talk about. They actually don't have an opportunity. They don't have any products. What separates us, and you got to really get this, is when we're with that family and the trainee's watching you, and we're talking about money. We're talking about a legitimate way to earn more income. We're talking about their taxes. We're talking about retirement. We're talking about college savings programs. We're talking about life insurance. That if something happens to you and you die and you got 3 little kids and a wife that makes half of your income and you got a brand new mortgage and you have 2 car payments and you got nothing saved, what is going to happen to this family? We talk about debt. And so financial services and what we do for families separates us. If they don't see that, and I'm not talking about, this is not seeing it. This is not seeing it. Me telling you is not seeing it. I went out and I love the business, and my childhood best friend recruited me into the business, right? And I was super skeptical. I was like, you know what? I stayed around because I knew somebody at the company, but I was like, whatever, man, this is another one of the, and when I say I was recruited before this, into a multi-level scam. The CEO of that company actually went to jail for fraud. So it was a real scam. Company went, I mean, and this, you know, when I have these jokes and I say these jokes about, you know, lighting candles and holding hands, this was a cult I got into. I went to a meeting and they were holding hands, and this is before the pandemic. I was like, yeah, no, I don't know you like that. Like, I don't touch hands with people I don't know, man. Okay, that's just not like, I'll dap you up, I'll fist pound you, but I hold hands with my mom and dad. Okay, my wife. I mean, even then, it's like, you know, hand sanitize before I hold your hands, man. I don't hold hands, man. There's a lot of germs going on. I know a lot of people, you know, you know, I'm just gonna put it out there. You know, you use a public restroom, they leave, they don't even wash their hands, man. So I don't even play those games, man. I go to a house op meeting and they're holding hands, and I was like, yo, are they chanting? Like, I left. I mean, I kind of like, I wasn't rude about it. I didn't make a scene, but I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And then later on, a few months later, you find out the CEO is going into jail, literally. These companies are great about talking about overrides, passive income, business ownership, why you have to work for yourself. And some of them are phenomenal about talking about the future of the industry, right? Oh man, e-commerce is going to take over the world. And, are you antioxidants, and, you know, a vitamin C pill is like a drop of water. But if you take this juice, it's a fire hose. And if you guys know me, I get opt very easily. So when people tell me something, I'm like, yep, okay, I'm all about it. And I'll go and I'll try to recruit a couple people into it. Hey, have you heard of this? You know, this new technology, this red light therapy, it'll grow your hair back. It's amazing. Just give me $5,000 and we'll do it. And I'm all about that stuff. I easily sold. And I like being like that. But when I saw Primerica, I was very skeptical. But then my trainer took me out on an appointment. He closed me on setting appointments and building a list. I was trying to duck out of the business before I even got started. And he said, look, let's just go on these couple appointments. Let's go see your sister. My older sister, reluctantly, but, you know, willingly, she did do an appointment with me. My older sister went to UVA. My older sister makes $100,000 a year. This is back in 2003, 2004, that right at the border, the end of the year. And my older sister did the appointment with me and my brother-in-law. They both make $100,000 a year. They have two young children at the time. My sister has a good job at, I think at that time was Fannie Mae or one of those big corporations. And she had credit card debt, which I was shocked because my dad always told us never to pay. And I had credit card debt, but I was really irresponsible. I didn't think my sister would have credit card debt. My sister had credit card debt. My sister didn't have any private coverage. And when my trainer went through it and said, why don't you have it? She couldn't really answer. She's like, yeah, you're right. I need it. They had a terrible mortgage. They only had group insurance. They didn't have a Roth IRA, and they could qualify at that time. And I started thinking like, man, you know, I grew up here. I knew I was terrible financially because I thought I was just irresponsible and just ignorant and rebellious. And I thought this was a way to kind of like show people that I just don't care about anything, is not be smart with my money. But my sister had two young children. She had a house. She had a mortgage. She was doing, you know, she was my great example and role model of somebody right above me. And it wasn't, my sister's not a bad person. She was just making financial mistakes. And we went back and we closed business. My sister gave us referrals. We went and saw other people. They were in the same predicament. And I saw it over and over and over and over again. And what happened? My confidence went through the roof. And when idiots would say stuff, right? You guys got great recruits. They're positive. They're really excited. And people say something just like that. I've tried it. It doesn't work. Something as stupid as nobody wants to talk about money. It's personal. They don't want to talk about it. And a new recruit will actually quit. This is a person that has goals and dreams that are unfulfilled. They have a team. They have a system in place to get them to the next level. And I got my first check. $300. Okay. Keep in mind, I went to college. I went to Virginia Tech. I'm a double major. I know a lot of you guys don't understand that because I always rag on college. I went to Virginia Tech. I'm a double major from Virginia Tech. And I'm not saying I'm proud of that. I'm just saying I'm college educated. I had a job at SIC. I had a badge. I went to orientation. I parked in a garage. People wanted my job. They interviewed with companies like mine. My friends always, hey, can you get me an interview? All these people. I made $35,000 a year. I worked 50 hours a week plus. After taxes, every 2 weeks, I made $1,400. I went on one appointment with my sister and I made $300. I wasn't even licensed at that time. That was a loan. So you could get loan license. And we got I think a $200 check from my trainer got. Now I wasn't licensed and we didn't have a field training bonus program. So I didn't get comp, but I knew that I would have got comp. And I said, man, I can sit down, husband and wife, they pay, because my brother-in-law was a smoker. So he had a little bit of a bigger policy, $200 a month. I was like, man, if I was a district leader, I'd make $1,200 for doing this. The light went on. I didn't care what other people said. And I'm not talking, some people, they don't care what people say because they're fighters. I'm like that too, right? I always try to go opposite of what everybody else is doing, but that's not true confidence. That's just you being rebellious, which is cool. I get that. That's but mine was an internal confidence when I went on appointments. And I tell people all the time, I forfeited, and I don't like to use the word forfeit, but I want to use forfeit because this is ancient times. When I did it, I forfeited 19 training sales, 19. And when I got licensed and I was a district leader, I could train people. Was I great? No, but I was pretty good. I could do business. If they were qualified, they loved each other, the appointment wasn't funny, my trainees wanted to take me places. And, I remember talking to somebody, and there's a concept in multi-level marketing. It's called Mark Blass, my RVP. He taught me this, my field trainer. He said, there's something called Amway Glaze. Okay. And I'm going to write this in the chat so you remember this. Let's see. I used to always talk about this all the time. So we'll see if someone can raise their hand if they know what the Amway Glaze is. And Gabe, I know you're a sugar lover. It's not glazed donut. All right. Amway Glaze. Anybody know what's the Amway Glaze? Raise your hand. Amway Glaze. I don't see any. You got Dominic's the only one. All right, Gabe, I'll let you redeem yourself.
Morning, everybody. Is that perspective when somebody first starts, it's like they just in love and not really understanding where.
Okay.
And this, for someone like your boy, it's just yeah. I mean that's what it comes down to.
Okay. What else? But go a little deeper. Anybody know what I'm looking for? You're close. You are there. They have something over their eyes. It's like, they drank the Kool-Aid, right? Like they're just, Nobody knows what it is. Okay. That means I'm not talking about it enough. They have this glaze. You ask them a question. Well, how's it going for you? And they'll say, oh, one day I'll retire my wife. One day I'll do this. One day I'll make some money. And look, I get it too, right? If people don't go on appointments in our business, they don't make any money. But some of these people, they actually have a downline. They've done business, but they don't make any money. But they feel like one day it's going to happen. They don't know when that one day is. That's the glaze. They can't see past that glaze over their eyes. because nobody makes money in the companies because there's no commission on the products that they sell. It's very hard. You got to sell a lot of coffee or vitamins to make money. And so Warren Powers told me this. He said, listen, a fruit tree has to bear some fruit. A fruit tree has to bear some fruit. You got to see some of the fruits of your labor. The fruits of our labor are checks. Right? If you know what I'm talking about, and many of you do, it's the do not reply. Right? Every morning I look, how much did I get advanced last night? Was it 1,000? Was it 1,100? Was it 2,500? I think my record is $6,000 I got advanced on life insurance business. How much did you get paid that night? That's the fruit that the tree is supposed to bear. Well, that doesn't happen if you're not an appointment-centered person. It's not going to happen. It can happen luckily. It can happen sporadically. It can happen almost unintentionally. So I went, we had a competition in Primerica back when I started. And if you did, they had a scoring called Builder's Premium, and Builder's Premium was recruits times premium. So every recruit times premium. So if you did 10 recruits and 15,000, it's called 150,000 points, right? And in a month you had to do, I think it was 400,000 points, which would be 20 by 20, or you could do 30 by, whatever the numbers are, you could do it. And so I didn't mind this, but I was heavily outweighted towards recruits, and I had low premium. I had, maybe I did, 50 recruits and 4,000, something like that. I mean, that's something very, very disproportionate. But I didn't care, but I went there and I did qualify, and there was they took the top, whoever did it for that month, they took them to the home office, and we sat in the theater room, the Art and Angela Williams theater room, and we got to see a broadcast. I met somebody else there, and she was from Canada, and she had won, and her numbers were kind of opposite of mine. And so I didn't disrespect her. I didn't think that, there was anything wrong. I actually wanted to learn from her. And I sat next to her because they did it by alphabetical last names. And I sat next to her and I asked her, I said, so man, you did a lot, and she did opposite of me. So she did 4 recruits and 50,000 in premium, something crazy like that. And so I was like, wow, what did you do? How did you do this? This is crazy. It was very hard for me to even fathom that. Wow, I mean, you did this all on your own, basically with no team, my whole team. And I had 20 or 30 people, you beat me. And I wanted to ask her, and she said, I work at a dentist office, and she said this jokingly, right? But I'll never forget it. She goes, I basically kidnapped all of my patients and made them sit down with me. And I was like, wow, that's really weird, because I have that same mentality when bringing guests to the op meeting. I would make people come, but I didn't have it for appointments. And there's nothing wrong with having that mentality for getting people to watch your presentations. There's something wrong though if you don't have the same mentality for doing the presentations. That's when it switched for me. And I adopted this mentality: just get the appointment by any means necessary. Just get them to present. And you got to understand too, this is back in the day. You have to drive places. You had to fight traffic. You had to leave early. You had to leave your kids the entire night for appointments. But I didn't care, and I went on these appointments no matter what. And that changed the business for me, because then I started going out. I started getting good. I got beat up out there. I got terribly beat up out there by myself. And I started taking a lot of bad appointments, but I also got good appointments. I learned how to qualify them. I learned how to get referrals, and I became a great trainer. And that's when my business took off. There's a concept, in church. I'll unmute you, Shay. I learned from my Christian friends. It's called backsliding, right?
Yes.
And all of us, Okay, know backsliding all too well. Some of you may not know that term, okay, but all of us know this term very well. Shay, what's backsliding?
We were talking about it when you said you went to the mosque last week, and I was saying I need to be in church because I'm backsliding, meaning, not being in church, you curse a little bit more, right? You listen to a little bit more music, not as much prayer, not doing the things that we're supposed to do when we're in the sanctuary. That would be backsliding. Really habits,
Right?
the habits of being spiritual.
Yeah, and I'm glad you used that word. That's the term is mainly used within a spiritual context, but it's true, right? Like I like to pray. I like to pray regularly. I like to actually go. I was telling Shay and I were talking like, I know they have it virtually, but so they just opened up our mosque 2 weeks ago, right? So I went and I was calling her and I was like, man, I'm so excited. I need to go. And she's like, I need to go too, right? I actually like walking in there. I like praying. I like washing before prayer. I like to donate in the box, all that stuff. I enjoy doing it. It's a meditation for me. I like it. I enjoy it. And, I know, a lot of people have a very personal relationship with God, and I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'll just speak from my personal experience. When I don't pray, I do curse a lot more, and I don't curse like I drop words that should not be dropped. Okay. I'm not proud of that. I'm just being honest. My temper, I mean, it's just like ridiculous. I tell people all the time, right? Like there are a lot of parenting traits. Sarcasm is not a good one. I get like really sarcastic with my children. That's not like, I get a C grade, just as a person when I'm not going to the mosque, right? Yes, your temper, you sin a little bit more, and everybody sins, but me personally, and I don't talk spiritually a lot on these things, but when you're not on appointments, you backslide. That's what you do in Primerica. Now you get great at talking the business, but you ain't doing the business. You're talking it, but you ain't doing it. You're not training anybody. You're not going out. You're not setting appointments. You're not having that uncomfortable feeling. Now you're great at saying it. Well, I look, you guys have mastered what to say. You know what to say. I'm making adjustments. I'm turning it around. Look, I know you know what to say, but are you doing what you actually are supposed to be doing? And there will be a point in time, I promise you, man, if you do what you need to do, you get wide, you build your base shop, you do everything you need to do, you're not going to ever have to go on appointments. And that's the dream. But you know what? I never thought like that when I was doing it. When I was building my base shop and I really was in the grind, I loved being on appointments. I enjoyed it. It was fun for me. The thoughts of I'm going to hire somebody and they're going to do the work for me because I've attained some positional leadership, throw it out the window. It ain't going to happen. All right. Till you're probably 30 wide, 20 wide. You can write 10K personal. You got your ring. You're making 5 to 10 grand a month, right? It ain't going to happen. That's multi-level talk. Okay. And let me get into my PowerPoint. I already actually went through a lot of these slides. All of these points, but I will go through them really quickly. So the difference between our company and a multi-level and network marketing companies is what we do for families. Okay. We have products and services that make a real difference. We have products and services that you can make money selling. We have products and services that people really want to talk about. When I say really, I'm talking the overwhelming majority of Americans are thinking about almost all of our products, but definitely one of our products every single day, all the time. Okay. This is a KT business, now a qualified appointment business. Somebody said that to me. And I said, what? Mike Sharp said on an audio, I can look at your last week and you can say how many appointments you've been on. And then you tell me, do you deserve to make $100,000 a year? That's from Mike Sharp, the greatest person in our company's history. He said, I can look at your calendar and you can tell me how many appointments you've been on. Then I'll ask you, did you deserve to make $100,000 a year? 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month? I moved to Florida after being in the business already for 8 years. And I started, I really didn't know anybody there. You know, I'm kind of a Northern Virginia guy, right? I live, you know, 10, 15 minutes from my parents, right? I mean, you know, the center of my universe is Northern Virginia, right? It's the sun, everything orbits this place in the world. But I did move to Florida for a year, which was very uncomfortable for me. Down in a new area, didn't know anybody. And I set goals, and I said, you know what, my goal, and this is back when we actually drove to appointments. I said, my goal was to be on one KT, and that's a kitchen table appointment. So be at some person's house every single day. That was my goal. I didn't know anybody. It took me 5 months to get somebody licensed. In May, I got my first person licensed. By August, I got 10 people licensed in a month. Okay, in 1 month. By September, I did 10 by 10,000 in my team. And by December, I had 40 people showing up. Okay, 40. And my goal there was just to be on one appointment every single day. It didn't matter. I know some people take Sundays. Sundays turn into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, like I said, I'm not trying to judge anybody, put my stuff on you, but I just wanted to be connected at all times. And when I was on it, I was on it. You know, I recruited somebody that's turned into a watch wearer down in Florida. They wear the watch right now. They're on their way to the ring. It's a great couple that came out of that 40 person attendance. And I remember going to a fast start school with Bob Safford. He passed away. He was one of the only $3 million earners in our company. He said, you know, my goal was always to have 100 referrals to call on Saturday. On Saturday morning after training, he goes, me and our team, we do a appointment phone blitz. And my goal was to always have 100 referrals. He goes, when you have 100 potential referrals qualified, listen to what I'm saying. Money is not a problem. It doesn't mean you're financially independent, but money is not a problem. Many people on this Zoom right now, money is a big problem. It's a big problem. And I don't want you to be in that glaze of one day, one day, one day. No, I want you to make money every week, money every month. Bill Whittle said, if you're not making $1,000 a month, you have zero discipline. That's Bill Whittle, not me. So we're going to go on a new campaign. I already talked to some of my trainers. I left them a message. I'm going to say it again to reiterate. I had an epiphany last week when for the winners qualifier, when we had Eric Davis on there. I did record it for myself and sent it out to the other qualifiers. But it was it's funny because Eric is such a normal guy. He's just the funniest normal guy. Like I said this on the video. I said, man, I'm gonna call the police, man. Nobody should be paying you $950,000 a year. I mean, I look at like D1 college coaches, they make $1 million a year. This guy should not be making 900. And I say that with humility because he is just such a good dude, man. He's such a good guy and he's so authentic, man. I mean, that's just the way I feel with him, that he's just very authentic person. Like he doesn't even know how to say, like he doesn't have this Primerica stage talk. He just talks what's on his mind. Now he self-improves and he's just very experienced. But he had 130 to 150 people on his Zoom and he makes $950,000 a year. He said that one person on his team has about 30 people on Zoom and has $100,000 base shop. And 10 months ago, I don't even know the numbers. I think he said she was struggling to do 10 by 10, or 20 by 20 maybe. And then now 10 months later, she's at 100,000 and making 30 to 40, $50,000 a month. And, the entire thing that he was talking about was being on appointments, closing business every single day, writing at least 10 sales on your own pen, every month. And it was just very refreshing to hear that, making money, being attractive, doing the right things with your recruits. So somebody, I was talking to people and I have some really, really strong prospectors in my base shop and I'm proud of all of you guys. I mean that. This is not a knock on anybody. Okay. This is a positive criticism. And I had a Telegram chat with one of my strongest prospectors. And this person asked me, I asked them, hey, they asked me, how to turn certain things into appointments. And I told them, I said, hey, tell me what you would say. If anybody knows me, I always do that. Whenever, a lot of people ask me for an answer, I always say, well, what do you think you should say? Because I want to hear what's actually going on in their mind, right? Not what I'm going to say and giving them the answer to the test. I want them to know, I want them to tell me what's going on. And they were not good. They were not confident. Whatever came out on this audio message was not good, to say it politely. And I'm like, no wonder you're not trying to set appointments, is because when the words come out of your mouth and they're not good, you're going to stop trying to set appointments. And when you stop trying to set appointments, you die, because you're going to get into fake Primerica, which is hire somebody and then they do it. And so we're going to do on our Saturday trainings, we're going to have a lot of appointment stuff. Okay. Not just mentality, but also what to say, all the different objections. We're going to go on a new campaign where we're going to have this being talked about every week. And look, my challenge to you guys, all of our new people, all of our trainers, all of our veterans, go back in the lab, go back in the gym, get great at going on appointments. Get great. And it starts at setting these appointments. Get great at it. Eric said something. He said, the person that called him to set an appointment called him and said, hey, what kind of insurance do you have? I want to take a look at it. Eric was very offended by that. He didn't set the appointment. And that the recruit's trainer, Tanya Poe, who's a Hall of Fame person in our company, $700,000-800,000 earner, made that recruit call back and then ran the script with her. I need a favor, can you help me, this and that? And then they got the appointment. And that appointment turned out to punch Tanya Poe's ticket to RVP, because she knows how important appointments were. She knows that we got to overcome this. She knows that this person could potentially be Eric Davis. This person could be Hector Lamarck, Rick Susie. And she was aggressive. She was persistent. Tanya Poe knows what to say, because she goes on 20 appointments a week all the time. Sometimes she goes on 10 appointments a day. This is when, back when in 2007, 8, 9, where writing 10,000 personal was crazy to do, she did it every month. So she was good at it. And look at look at what has been created from that. And so we're going to start there. We're going to start with exactly what to say, all the objections. Look, I every single week I train on the class and showing up and building your list. Some things never change. It doesn't matter if it's virtual. It doesn't matter if it's online. It doesn't matter if it's convenient. It doesn't matter if we have people breaking every record in the world. When people don't go out and see what we do right away, they quit. Okay, that's it, period. You can take that to the bank, certified cashier check. And we need great trainers that are going to close and set those appointments right away. Get them in the field fast. I used to always say this. I'm going to write it in the chat. Work in Primerica is getting new recruits in the field fast. 24 to 48 hours immediately. The kryptonite. I need to talk to my wife. I want to study first. Let me go to class. A lot of you guys are still buying that stuff, and you're losing great recruits. Alex McInvan, I think he's at 1.4 million right now. When I got in the business, he was at 400,000. Gave himself $1 million raise. He came and did a big event for us. And he said, I've looked at the numbers of every hierarchy. If you have 21 great trainers, you'll make $1 million a year. I have the same amount of people showing up on Zoom. as Eric Davis, maybe more. But his team is more confident in going on more appointments, and they're making money. Their teammates are making money. They're getting big bonuses. Their new people are getting field training bonuses, and it's creating a very positive cycle where we're overriding too soon. Yeah, you go do it. You go set the appointment. You can't let your recruits do the dirty work. It doesn't work like that. And last, okay, is money. You know, a lot of people, they don't understand the compensation here. They don't know how an advance works. They don't know the banding. They don't know the different policy numbers. They don't know how a dealer reallowance works. That's one level of compensation. The other level is they forget that if they don't go on appointments, they're not going to make any money. Not I set an appointment, not I thought about doing an appointment, not somebody else did an appointment, my sideline did an appointment. If you're not doing the appointments, you're not in the business and you're not going to make any money. You know, look, even if you make $100 a day, that's $3,000 a month. $200 a day is $6,000 a month. $300 a day is $9,000 a month. $1,100 a day is $500,000 a year. And $2,300 is $1 million a year. But that starts on going on appointments, playing the game, getting in the game. So, you know, as you know, like I said, I'm not going to keep everybody too long. I'm going to end now. Look, we need a lot of leadership here. Okay. We need to, you know, and this is not like, always remember this. You don't strengthen a weakness by weakening a strength. Okay. If some people are great in life insurance, but they're bad in securities, that doesn't mean you go less life insurance and just to go more security. That's stupid. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being great at something. If you're great, like me, what did I say? I said I just got to copy the same mentality I have with getting people to watch the op meeting as an appointment. That's all I had to do. Not let me be bad at both of them. No. I built my business by recruiting at day, selling at night. But when I made those sales adjustments and turned my KT activity around, that's when my base shop was formed. When I took responsibility and I said the buck stops with me on appointments, and you could hear it with Eric when he was doing the training. You could hear it. You could just see like how much of a focal point on him going on these appointments, him doing 10K, so he could duplicate that through field training and all the right activity. And we're going to start tomorrow. Like I said, at least one classroom, I will make sure of that, will be on appointments. And it's not going to be mentality. It's going to be skill work. What to say, what objection to say, how to say it, how to ask 4 or 5 times, and how to just get the appointment by any means necessary. Because with 100 people on a Zoom, with my class is 30 to 40 to 50 new people. Conservatively, how many appointments should our hierarchy have every week? At least 2 to 3 per new person. You have a new untapped market, it's 150 a week. And we're doing a third of that, maybe 50, maybe. That's on you guys. That's on my Friday group. You got to, for example, right? Like we all do really well on setting our goals. The goals don't mean anything if the appointments aren't set per week. I don't care what you say. You can write a nice goal down. Man, I'm going to do 50 by 50. Okay. Like, if you don't have 50 appointments set for the week, it doesn't matter. So I think I drove the point home enough, but we're going to still continue to make this adjustment. And the people that make this adjustment, the income's coming. And I know a lot of you got a lot of excuses why you're not going on appointments. I don't have a market. I don't know anybody. Hey, excuses are great. That's awesome. Maybe you can't do the business. I don't know. I don't know what you want to tell you. Excuses ain't going to excuse anything. They're going to help your financial situation, right? You know, I had every excuse too, man, you know, and they were great. They were really sophisticated excuses. Didn't help my bank account at all. You know, I mean, some of you guys are great, you know, you got, you got the high level ones, man. You know, you start putting your children in there, right? Those are high level. You're really using them, man. Right? Man, you know, parents, spouses, kids, religion, those are the big time excuses, man. Only use those when necessary, man. Primerica appointments are probably not the ones, man, you know, to use it for. You know, somebody in your situation is always doing better. I heard that from Eric, man. That's what I heard it from him. I saw it from him. Like, man, you know what? Eric Davis is a stud. He's a flat out stud. He's not that much better than our hierarchy, though. They're not. He's not that much better. Not that much better. And so I took it a little personal. So anyways, let's have a great week. Start collecting your referrals, man. Start collecting your referrals. Send them to the chat, right? Your activity chat. I got 20 to call tomorrow, right? I got 21. Start keeping count. Let's go on a vigorous campaign to really, really, really go out, help a lot of families, go out there, become a great trainer, where you don't have any money issues and you're connected to the business and you're really doing the business. You go back to people, ask them for referrals, talk to people, get those appointments. Like that person said, I kidnap people for appointments. Obviously saying that figuratively, but you know, that's a great mentality to have because, you know, it was very important for her to get on these appointments. So anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:30. Let's have a super productive day. Get everybody on, get everybody registered. And tomorrow will be, and really today will be, you know, we'll remember this training for a long time on how we kind of, you know, because even if you're on a long drive, sometimes you're not at the wheel, how we made an adjustment here and really, really honed in on setting appointments and everything good will happen from that. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.